Her name was Margaret. At 74, she was sharp, funny, and loved doing crossword puzzles every morning with her husband, Tom. But over just 6 months, something changed. She began forgetting the simplest things: where she'd put her keys, what day it was, even the names of her grandchildren. Tom feared the worst: dementia. But when I reviewed her medications, the truth was shocking. It wasn't aging. It was the pills in her cabinet. Several of her routine medicines were silently blocking the very brain chemicals that keep memory alive. And today, I want to show you how this same hidden danger could be affecting millions of older adults right now, and more importantly, how you can protect yourself. Because dementia isn't always inevitable. Sometimes, it's preventable. Did you know that by the time you finish this video, nearly 20 seniors will have been diagnosed with dementia? That's 1 every 66 seconds. And here's the shocking part: in many cases, it's not just aging or genetics. It's the medications we take every day. I'll reveal the 9 most common drugs that quietly damage memory and show you how simple, science-based changes can help protect your brain starting tonight. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and what steps to take to safeguard your mind and your independence. Number 1. Antihistamines containing diphenhydramine, Benadryl, and PM pills. Let's start with one of the most familiar bottles sitting on nightstands across America. That small pink pill called Benadryl. It's been around for decades, trusted to ease allergies, colds, and those sleepless nights when nothing else seems to work. You'll find it hidden in countless products labeled PM, nighttime, or allergy relief. But here's what most people don't realize. That same pill can quietly interfere with how your brain thinks, learns, and remembers. Diphenhydramine belongs to a class of medications called anticholinergics. These drugs block a vital brain chemical known as acetylcholine, the messenger that keeps your mind alert, helps you focus, and supports memory formation. Think of acetylcholine as your brain's ignition key. Without it, the mental engine doesn't start smoothly. As we age, our brains naturally produce less acetylcholine. So when we take medications that block it even further, memory circuits in the hippocampus, the brain's learning and storage center, begin to weaken. Over time, that means forgetfulness, confusion, and slower processing become more common. A large study published in the Journal of Geriatric Cognitive Health found that older adults who regularly used strong anticholinergic drugs like diphenhydramine had a 54% higher risk of developing dementia compared with those who did not. And it's not only about long-term use. Even occasional doses can contribute to what doctors call your anticholinergic burden. The higher that burden, the greater the risk to your memory. But here's the encouraging part: there are safer choices. For allergies, switch to non-drowsy antihistamines, such as loratadine, Claritin, or cetirizine, Zyrtec, which do not cross into the brain. For sleep, focus on natural routines. A regular bedtime, light evening stretching, warm herbal tea, and if necessary, a small dose of melatonin under medical guidance. Remember, over-the-counter does not mean harmless. Every choice you make, even with something as simple as an allergy pill, is a chance to protect your clarity, your confidence, and your independence for years to come. Number 2. Proton pump inhibitors. PPIs such as omeprazole, Nexium, pantoprazole. Let's talk about a medication that millions of adults rely on every single day: proton pump inhibitors. Often known by names like omeprazole, Nexium, or pantoprazole, they're designed to calm the burning discomfort of acid reflux, heartburn, or GERD by reducing the amount of acid your stomach makes. And in the short term, they work beautifully. But here's what most people don't realize: when you silence stomach acid for too long, you also silence an essential part of digestion. That acid isn't just there to cause pain. It plays a vital role in absorbing key nutrients like vitamin B12, magnesium, and calcium. Vitamin B12, especially, is crucial for brain and nerve health. It helps protect the myelin sheath, the insulation that keeps nerve signals strong and fast. When vitamin B12 levels drop too low, the result can be confusion, mood swings, fatigue, or even dementia-like symptoms. In one large study published in JAMA Neurology, researchers followed more than 73,000 adults, aged 75 and older. They found that those who used proton pump inhibitors regularly had a 44% higher risk of developing dementia than those who did not. Other research suggests that long-term PPI use may also contribute to the buildup of beta-amyloid proteins, the same compounds linked to Alzheimer's disease, though newer studies show mixed results. The bottom line: taking a PPI occasionally for heartburn is fine, but using it for years without medical supervision can carry real risks. So what can you do instead? Ask your doctor whether you can gradually step down to an H2 blocker, such as famotidine, Pepcid, or manage reflux. Naturally smaller meals, avoiding late-night eating, lifting the head of your bed, and maintaining a healthy weight. And remember, never stop PPIs abruptly. Your stomach can rebound with even more acid. Taper slowly, under your doctor's care. Because smart choices today protect not just your gut but also your brain. Number 3. Bladder control medications. Oxybutynin, tolterodine, solifenacin. Let's talk about something few people discuss openly: bladder control. It's a common issue as we get older, and for many, it can be frustrating or even embarrassing. So when a doctor prescribes a pill that promises to reduce urgency or nighttime trips to the bathroom, it feels like relief. But here's what most people don't realize. Some of those same bladder control drugs can quietly affect your brain. Medications such as oxybutynin, ditropan, tolterodine, Ditrol, and solifenacin, vesicare, work by calming bladder muscles. They do this by blocking a chemical messenger called acetylcholine. That's the same neurotransmitter your brain uses to form memories, focus, and process information. Now, here's the concern. These medications can cross the blood-brain barrier, the protective filter that keeps harmful substances out of the brain. Once inside, they interfere directly with the hippocampus, the brain's memory and learning center. The result? Many people begin to notice brain fog, slower recall, or those frustrating tip of the tongue moments where you just can't find the right word. A major study published in the BMJ in 2019 found that adults over 65 who took strong bladder anticholinergic drugs for more than a year had a 49% higher risk of developing dementia compared to those who did not. That's a powerful reminder that the body and brain are always connected. What helps one system can sometimes harm another. The good news is there are safer options. Newer medications like mirabegron, Mirbatriq, work in a completely different way and have little to no impact on memory. You can also support bladder health naturally. Strengthen your pelvic floor muscles. Practice scheduled bathroom breaks. Stay hydrated. And limit bladder irritants like caffeine or carbonated drinks. And here's something I tell every patient: if you notice new memory lapses or confusion after starting a medication, don't ignore it. Bring it up immediately. Sometimes, simply switching prescriptions can bring your mental clarity right back. Because protecting your brain is just as important as protecting your bladder. Number 4. Statins, cholesterol-lowering drugs, such as simvastatin, atorvastatin, rosuvastatin. Statins are among the most prescribed medications in the world, and for good reason. They lower bad LDL cholesterol, protect your arteries, and reduce the risk of heart attacks and strokes. In many ways, statins have saved millions of lives. But when it comes to the brain, the story isn't as straightforward. Your brain is made up of nearly 60% fat, and cholesterol is one of its essential building blocks. It forms part of every nerve cell membrane and helps create hormones and vitamin D, all of which are critical for clear thinking and stable mood. So, when cholesterol levels drop too low for too long, The brain may not have enough of the raw materials it needs to function optimally. Some early research raised concerns that long-term statin use might be linked to memory problems or confusion. For example, a study published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that adults over 70 who used statins for 3 years or more had about a 26% higher risk of mild cognitive impairment. However, and this is very important, other large-scale studies have found no consistent connection between statins and dementia. In fact, several reports show that by improving blood flow and reducing inflammation, statins might actually protect the brain in some individuals. So what should you do? If your doctor prescribed a statin to manage heart disease, diabetes, or high cholesterol, don't stop it on your own. The benefits for your cardiovascular health usually far outweigh the potential cognitive risks. But if you've been on a statin for several years and you're noticing brain fog or forgetfulness, talk to your physician. Certain types, such as pravastatin and rosuvastatin, do not cross into the brain as easily and may be better choices for older adults. And remember, your lifestyle matters too. A diet rich in omega-3 fatty acids, fresh vegetables, and daily movement like brisk walking supports both heart and brain health naturally. Medication can help, but your habits are what keep the heart strong and the mind sharp for life. Number 5. Benzodiazepines. Valium, Ativan, Xanax, Klonopin, and similar medications. Let's talk about a group of medications that can be both a blessing and a burden. Benzodiazepines, often called benzos. You've probably heard of them. Diazepam, Valium, Lorazepam, Ativan, Alprazolam, Xanax, and clonazepam, Clonopin. Doctors prescribe these drugs to relieve anxiety, insomnia, or panic attacks. And in the short term, they work beautifully, easing tension, slowing racing thoughts, and helping you sleep. But over time, the same pills that bring calm can start to quiet the brain too much. Benzodiazepines work by amplifying a neurotransmitter called GABA, your body's natural calm down chemical. In small doses, that's helpful. But when GABA activity stays too high for too long, it suppresses brain circuits that control alertness, learning, and memory. In other words, the brain becomes too relaxed and starts to slow down. Older adults are especially sensitive. As we age, our metabolism slows, which means these drugs linger in the body longer. This can lead to daytime drowsiness, confusion, slower reaction times, and even dangerous falls. A major study published in the BMJ followed more than 8,000 older adults for 6 years. Those who used benzodiazepines for longer than 3 months had a 51% higher risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. The longer the use, the greater the risk. Long-acting medications like Valium accumulate in fatty tissues, including the brain, while short-acting ones like Xanax can cause memory lapses or a persistent, foggy feeling. And here's what makes them tricky: dependence. When you try to stop, symptoms like anxiety, restlessness, or sleeplessness can return, making you feel like you need the pill again. So what's the solution? If you've been taking a benzodiazepine for more than a few weeks, don't stop suddenly. That can be dangerous. Work closely with your doctor to taper down slowly. Safer options include buspirone, a non-sedating anxiety medication, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, gentle exercise, magnesium, meditation, and relaxation breathing. Because peace of mind matters, but it should never come at the expense of your memory, balance, or long-term brain health. Number 6. Tricyclic antidepressants. Amitriptyline, Elavil, nortriptyline, doxepin. Let's talk about a group of older antidepressants that many people still take today: tricyclic antidepressants, or TCAs. You might recognize names like amitriptyline, Elavil, nortriptyline, Pamelor, or doxepin. These medications have been around for decades. Doctors often prescribe them not only for depression, but also for nerve pain, migraines, or insomnia. And while they can be effective, they come with a hidden cost, one that directly affects the brain. Tricyclic antidepressants are among the strongest anticholinergic drugs still used today. That means they block acetylcholine, a vital chemical messenger that helps your brain store memories, concentrate, and process information. Think of acetylcholine as your brain's Wi-Fi signal. It keeps your neurons connected and communicating. When that signal is blocked over time, those connections weaken, and the result is slower thinking, forgetfulness, and confusion. A major 10-year study published in JAMA Internal Medicine followed more than 3,000 older adults. Those who took high cumulative doses of strong anticholinergic medications like amitriptyline had a 54% higher risk of developing dementia. What's more, the effect was dose-dependent and long-term. Even a small nightly dose taken for years can quietly add up, increasing your brain's burden without you realizing it. At first, the changes may seem subtle: forgetting appointments, misplacing items, or struggling to find the right word. Families often mistake it for just getting older, when it's actually medication-related. The good news is, there are safer alternatives. For nerve pain, doctors often recommend duloxetine, Cymbalta, or gabapentin, which have far fewer cognitive effects. For depression, sertraline, Zoloft, or acetylcholine, Lexapro, are better options for older adults. And for sleep, melatonin or a very low dose of doxepin, 3 milligrams or less, can help without harming memory. One important note: never stop antidepressants suddenly. Always work with your doctor to taper gradually and safely. Your mental clarity matters. The goal isn't to fear medication. It's to find the balance that supports your mood, your memory, and your long-term health. Number 7. Paroxetine, Paxil. Here's a medication that surprises many people: paroxetine, better known by its brand name Paxil. It's part of the SSRI family, the same group as Prozac and Zoloft, often viewed as the modern, safer class of antidepressants. But here's the catch: paroxetine is the exception. While most SSRIs are considered brain-friendly, paroxetine has strong anticholinergic properties. That means, instead of gently balancing brain chemistry like its sister drugs, paroxetine can actually block acetylcholine, a vital neurotransmitter that supports learning, memory, and focus. Think of acetylcholine as the wiring that connects your thoughts. When you block too much of it, those mental connections weaken, and memory starts to fade. A large review published in Frontiers in Psychiatry in 2021 examined older adults taking different SSRIs. The results were eye-opening. Patients using paroxetine showed measurable declines in short-term memory, attention, and verbal recall within just 12 months. Even more concerning, they were about 30% more likely to develop early signs of cognitive impairment compared with seniors taking safer antidepressants like sertraline, Zoloft, or acetylcholine, Lexapro. The evidence was so strong that the American Geriatric Society officially added paroxetine to its Beers criteria, a list of medications that are potentially inappropriate or risky for older adults. So, what can you do? If you or a loved one is currently taking Paxil, don't panic and don't stop suddenly. Instead, have a calm conversation with your doctor about switching to a safer alternative. Medications like sertraline, citalopram, or escitalopram are generally well tolerated and have a much lower impact on memory. To further support your brain, check your vitamin B levels, especially B12 and B6, since deficiencies in these nutrients can worsen both mood and cognition. The takeaway is simple: not all antidepressants are created equal. Choosing the right one can protect your memory, your mood, and your confidence, helping you stay focused, emotionally balanced, and mentally strong for years to come. Number 8. Antipsychotic medications: quetiapine, risperidone, olanzapine, haloperidol. This next group of medications is especially important and honestly a little alarming because many older adults don't even realize they're taking them. I'm talking about antipsychotic medications such as quetiapine, Seroquel, risperidone, Risperdal, olanzapine, Zyprexa, and haloperidol, Haldol. These drugs were originally developed to treat serious psychiatric conditions like schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. But in recent years, they've also been used off-label, meaning for reasons they weren't originally intended to help manage sleep problems, agitation, or behavioral changes in seniors, particularly those living with dementia or anxiety. And this is where the danger begins. Antipsychotics work by blocking dopamine, a powerful chemical in the brain that regulates motivation, focus, and pleasure. While this can calm aggression or restlessness, it also slows down mental processing, flattens emotions, and reduces alertness. In other words, the same medication that helps someone stay calm may also rob them of energy, engagement, and memory. A major study published in The Lancet Healthy Longevity in 2022 followed more than 25,000 older adults. It found that seniors who were prescribed antipsychotics for behavioral symptoms had a 71% higher risk of worsening cognitive decline within just 1 year, even if they had no prior diagnosis of dementia. That's not the only risk. Antipsychotics can also increase the chances of stroke, irregular heart rhythms, and sudden death, particularly in frail or medically complex seniors. Families often notice changes quickly. A once talkative, lively, loved one becomes quiet, withdrawn, or not themselves. It's heartbreaking. And too often, people assume the dementia is simply progressing when it's actually the medication causing the decline. So what can you do? Start by asking one simple question. Why was this medication prescribed? If it's being used for agitation, anxiety, or sleep, ask about non-drug approaches like gentle routines, calming music, soft lighting, or checking for discomfort or dehydration. And if medication truly is necessary, make sure it's the lowest effective dose for the shortest possible time and reviewed regularly. If your loved one seems overly sedated or emotionally flat, speak up. You have every right to ask your doctor, can we try something safer? Because the goal isn't just a calmer life, it's a clearer, more connected one. Number 9. Anticholinergic polypharmacy. The silent dementia trap. If you've followed along this far, you already know how one medication can affect memory. But what happens when a senior takes several of them together, day after day, often without realizing it? That's what we call anticholinergic polypharmacy. And it's one of the most overlooked causes of preventable cognitive decline. Let's break it down simply. Acetylcholine is a vital chemical messenger in your brain. It helps your neurons communicate, especially in areas like the hippocampus and frontal cortex, which handle memory, attention, and learning. Now imagine taking several medications that all block acetylcholine at once. When that happens, neurons fire less often. Connections between brain cells called synapses begin to shrink. Memory circuits weaken, and the brain slips into a slow mode. If this continues, it can actually mimic Alzheimer's disease. That's why some people on multiple medications start to forget conversations, lose focus, or get easily confused, and doctors may mistake it for early dementia when it's actually drug-induced cognitive decline. The good news is, this kind of brain fog is often reversible. When these medications are identified and carefully reduced, many patients regain mental clarity within weeks or months. The brain just needs a chance to breathe again. So how do you know if you're at risk? Ask your doctor or pharmacist for an anticholinergic burden review. Each drug is scored from 0 to 3, based on how much it blocks acetylcholine. If your total score is above 3, your risk rises dramatically, and it only takes a few common pills to reach that level. Here's the empowering part. Reducing your burden is within your control. Make a complete medication list, including over-the-counter products. Watch for words like PM or nighttime. Ask about safer alternatives. And never stop medications, suddenly always taper with guidance. A 2022 study in Age and Aging found that seniors with the highest anticholinergic load had more than double the risk of developing dementia over 10 years. The message is simple but powerful. Awareness can save your mind. Your brain isn't failing you, it may just be asking for a break. As we wrap up, I want to speak to you not just as a health professional, but as someone who truly cares about helping people live with clarity and confidence. I've seen countless older adults who thought their memory loss was just aging, until a simple medication review changed everything. Within weeks, their focus returned, their energy lifted, and they felt like themselves again. So remember this, you are never powerless. Every medication you take is a choice, and with the right guidance, you can make choices that protect your mind, your independence, and your future. If you're over 60, print your medication list and tell your doctor, "I'd like to review these for memory safety." That one conversation could change your life. If this message helped you, please share it with someone you love. Your brain is your greatest gift. Let's keep it strong, clear, and vibrant together.